Hello! It's Brian from the Movies. And today I'm going to do my halfway through 2019 top 10 of the year so far. I know that it's a little past the halfway mark, but we're halfway through the summer, so it feels about right to be doing a video like this right now. I am going to have some honorable mentions because there's some movies I want to talk about. But I've only seen 24 movies this year so far. So top 10 is about half of them, but I do like all of the movies in my top 10 a lot. And I think that if 2019 continues on this track of what the first half of the year set up, we could have one of the best years for film that we've had in a very, very long time. So, yeah, let's jump right in. So I'm going to have 3 honorable mentions that I talk about. Starting with Spider-Man Far From Home. So I really liked Spider-Man Far From Home. I thought that Tom Holland and Zendaya were really good together and that their whole storyline was really touching to watch. But I did think that the Mysterio storyline, especially in the latter half, was really just out of place and not entertaining and just distracting. So that's what brought it down for me, but I still really enjoy it as a teen romance comedy. I think it's really funny, and yeah, I like it a lot. My next honorable mention is another superhero movie, Shazam. I thought that Shazam was really funny and not so serious, which I think I liked a lot, that it kind of stuck to its one idea of being just a silly comic book movie. And then again, it is at its worst, I think, when it's trying to be too emotional. But Zachary Levi is absolutely great as this role. And yeah, also very fun. Superhero movies were good this year. Some, for the most part. Yeah, good job. My last honorable mention that I'm going to talk about was tricky to leave off, but I decided on it. It's Toy Story 4. So I really liked Toy Story 4. I saw it twice. And I really enjoyed it both times. I thought that it was definitely the funniest of the franchise, especially as like an older person, like a teenager. I really loved Key and Peele's Ducky and Bunny. I loved Bo Peep. I loved Woody as always. I think he's a great protagonist. But when I was like reflecting on it, I didn't really think that it had a lot to say that the third one didn't. And I think that the third one did it not only first, but also a little bit better. Which kept it just low enough to not make the list, but I still really enjoyed it. It definitely felt like a Pixar movie, whereas a lot of the Pixar sequels, like Finding Dory or something, doesn't quite have the same magic to it. I think Toy Story 4 does have that. I just don't think that it's the most original or necessary movie to be made, which brought it down a little bit for me. Number 10. Yeah, so Long Shot was a movie that I was really looking forward to when I first heard the idea. Any romance between somebody like Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen is bound to be funny, and I know that both of those people are also very funny. So I didn't even care about the whole like Secretary of State, presidential like politics aspect. I was just like, this is going to be a fun movie, and it was. I thought that the two of them worked really well together. They had great chemistry. Seth Rogen was hilarious as always. Charlize Theron was really good. It says something that's about all I can remember about it. Like, I couldn't tell you any side characters or any side plots, really, other than that she's the Secretary of State. But I really loved just watching the two of them interact on screen. And it was a really good time, and I'd check it out. Number 9. I absolutely love the How to Train Your Dragon movies. They're some of my favorite movies out there. And The Hidden World is a very solid conclusion. A lot of it, I think, is a little bit kiddish compared to the second one. Especially a lot of the way like the action or the villain is handled. But just ultimately between Hiccup and Toothless and Astrid and the Light Fury and all of the relationships that are coming to an end kind of inevitably, is done in such a way that is so emotionally powerful and so joyful to watch. It's just fantastic, and I was very happy with it as a finale to one of my favorite trilogies. Number 8. So I'll be the first to admit that I'm shocked that this movie made the list, but Avengers Endgame was incredible. I've never seen a movie that incorporates this many characters actually so well, right? So the thing that people said with Infinity War was that they couldn't do it any better because they had so many characters. They could do it much better, and they showed that in Avengers Endgame. It was a much better handling of the characters. The characters felt more grounded. The performances are the best from almost everybody that's working here. Robert Downey Jr. gives his best performance in the franchise. Paul Rudd, Chris Hemsworth, Jeremy Renner, Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson, they all give their best performances of the franchise, and they're all wonderful to watch. Chris Evans, maybe Chris Evans. Chris Evans is always good, but and the movie tends to actually make me feel things, which is surprising for these movies, considering that I don't have a lot of prior love for them. It still makes me feel for the characters, which is very impressive. The way they handled Thanos was wonderful. The way they handled the whole blip situation, or the snap, or whatever you want to call it, that was all wonderful. And yeah, I was really shocked by this one, but I thought it was really good. And the stupid extra credit scene that I saw online is such a dumb cash grab, garbage, awful, Marvel. Number 7. The Last Black Man in San Francisco is a movie where I can't even really explain what it feels like to watch it. It's like walking through a city where everything around you is so overwhelming and everything is so random, but it all kind of makes sense and it all feels alive, even though it very clearly isn't. It's the same thing watching The Last Black Man in San Francisco, because there are a lot of cuts to scenes that don't seem to fit. The puzzle pieces seem out of order, but it still feels like you're watching something that's living and breathing and is working together so beautifully. The actual story regarding gentrification in San Francisco and just in general, and how that affects families and relationships and people rather than just communities, was very touching to watch, and it gives probably my favorite performance of the year in Jonathan Majors. Yeah, really check it out. For a lot of artsy indie lovers, this is the one for you. Number 6. So, Rocketman was a really surprising movie for me. I am going to be the first to admit that this was practically an original musical in my mind, because I know nothing about Elton John. I recognized 2 of the songs, maybe, one of them being the title song. And I don't know if that made me love the movie more than other people, but I loved it nonetheless. I thought it was really, really spectacular. Taron Egerton is the best performance by an actor for the year for me so far. He brings the role to absolute life. I ended up watching Elton John interviews after the movie because I was interested in him, and I had never really seen him before. And the way he captures him is so phenomenal and fantastic. The songs and how they were incorporated, where they were done at random times during his life rather than only during concert scenes, I thought was a really, really great way to do a music biopic. And what's the guy's name? Rob Stark from Game of Thrones. Richard Madden was really fun to watch. He was very easy to hate, and his Scottish accent was very good, even when singing. So that's spectacular. I really liked this movie, and I was not expecting to like this movie as much as I did. But it was lots of fun, and I definitely recommend it. Number 5. Paddleton is a movie that I was looking forward to from the very beginning of 2019 when I first heard about it, because the Duplass brothers are some of my favorite writers, and Ray Romano in anything is going to be so great. And I was absolutely right. Mark Duplass and Ray Romano worked so well off of each other. Their comedy and their thoughtfulness is so profound and easy to see in these characters. And even though this is such a sad movie in the end, when you really feel the characters, which I did very easily, and you understand their relationship, you know that it's not really sad, more just moving on and about that. It's more about Ray Romano's struggle than it is Mark Duplass's. And I think that's a very interesting perspective to look at it from. And I think that it really benefited the film. I absolutely loved this movie from start to finish. It doesn't slow down for me. There's no breaks in the comedy. There's no breaks in the heartbrokenness of it all. It's just a really, really solid, great Mark Duplass and Jay Duplass movie that I will be watching again and again and again. Number 4. Us was a movie that I was obviously incredibly anticipating. Get Out was phenomenal and wonderful in every way, and I was so excited to see what Jordan Peele made next, and wow, what a movie. This thing is terrifying from start to finish. It's so scary to watch, just moment for moment. Lupita Nyong'o gives one of the great performances of the year. I pray she is not forgotten about come Oscar season. She's absolutely fantastic, giving 2 completely opposite performances to absolute perfection. The use of the song, it has one of the best uses of songs I've ever heard in a movie. And it's not 5 on it, but it's one of the greatest little scenes that I've seen in a long time. It tackles, it's Jordan Peele. It tackles racism and things like this and social issues in the country today, and it tackles what America is really becoming. But I really loved this movie for the horror and for how scary it was and how likable the characters are and how just bizarre it gets. It was really fun to watch, and I really enjoyed it. Number 3. The Souvenir was a movie that I really didn't know anything about before watching it. And after watching it, I just felt something. I don't exactly know what it was. I don't know if it was sadness or if it was longing or what it was, but it was a feeling, which a lot of movies don't really get out of me. Joanna Hogg creates something that is so personal. It's so easy to tell how important this movie is to the creator and how each and every scene is based in somebody's real life. And it's something that's just very profound to watch. The relationship that takes place in the movie it's difficult to take your eyes off of, but it's also difficult to watch. It's funny at times. It's sad at times. Tilda Swinton and her daughter, I forgot her name. Her daughter is the main character, and she's wonderful in the movie. And I'm interested in what a sequel is going to be because I've heard that they're making a sequel. I don't know what it's exactly going to be, but this is just a movie that you watch and it makes you feel, which is what movies should do. So, number 3. Number 2. Booksmart. I love Booksmart from start to finish. Every single scene is absolutely hilarious. Caitlin Dever and Bonnie Wright are so good together. They have the best chemistry of any 2 actors that I have seen this year. They are so good. They're so funny. Billy Lord is absolutely hilarious. All of the side characters are so full of life and so funny, and they're so different. And oh my gosh, Olivia Wilde just brings a voice to this genre that has been needing it for so long. I have been watching these movies. This is my genre, right? I love coming of age, comedy, teen, romance, these kinds of themes. And this is my favorite kind of movie. And the one thing that these movies have been missing for so long is this kind of creative voice that Olivia Wilde brings with such ease. It's effortless how it all blends together. And I could not ask for a better experience out of Booksmart. It's the best teen comedy I've seen since Superbad. Maybe just the best comedy I've seen since Superbad. And while the comparisons between Booksmart and Superbad are very obvious, it would be a disservice to Booksmart to only hold it up against that, because it thrives because it is so its own, and because it holds its own voice, and because it's so original, and I love it from start to finish, and it's wonderful. Number 1. I've never walked out of a movie feeling like I did after Midsommar. I'm actually pretty sure that I've never felt like I did after Midsommar. I felt like what I imagined someone would feel after being traumatized, even though I know that is not the feeling. I know that it's something like that. Every single frame of Ari Aster's sophomore film, Midsommar, is just hanging with dread and lifelessness, despite the fact that the colors are so bright and the people are so happy. There is just this sense of something else that is hovering over the entire movie that stays with me even now, weeks after I've seen it. It's a movie that I can't really express technically why it's as perfect as I feel it is, but it is one that you feel emotionally after seeing it. It's a movie that I don't know that I will physically be able to watch again. There seems like such randomness in the tortures that the characters face. But again, it seems so systematic that it can't be pure chance. Like, every design is bizarre and terrifying and designed to inflict a emotion inside of the viewer that is of pure terror. And for me, it succeeded with that very clearly. During the final sequence, I struggled to not get out of my seat simply for a break from the madness. And I definitely have to prepare myself a lot better next time I see an Ari Aster film, because I was not prepared for whatever I saw. I was telling my girlfriend this after we saw that I don't think reading the script could properly prepare you for what the experience of watching the movie is. It's long, and it feels long, but it's long to a point where it hangs you in that feeling, that emotion, that dread. And you feel it for so long afterwards that it's difficult to speak about. I struggle to talk about specific scenes because it's just replaying in my head and I'm still terrified. But I know that's exactly what Ari Aster wants me to think about this movie. So I can't knock him for making this movie. I do think that if you want to call it a horror movie, I don't know what else you'd call it, but it doesn't feel like a horror movie. But if it is a horror movie, it's certainly the best that I've ever seen. And if it's not my number 1 at the end of the year, I could not imagine a movie that will be. So yeah, check it out, but not for the faint of heart. And that concludes my halfway point 2019 top 10. If you like this, press that like button and leave a comment and tell me about what your favorite movies are, and I will try to respond to you and tell you how wrong you are. If I missed a movie that you thought was better, let me know. I probably just haven't seen it, but let me know. If you like M3 movies, then you should subscribe to our YouTube channel here, and also go and listen to our podcast on anchor.fm/M3 movies. There you can find us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and Stitcher and lots of other things, which is good for us because that's how we can actually make money off the podcasts. If you want to see my full list, I'll put the list along with my star ratings out of 10 in the description for this video. And then they're also on Letterboxd, our letterboxd.com/M3 movies, or if you have the app, just search M3 movies. It's in a list, Brian's 2019 all movies ranked. It's not fully updated right now because I'm behind on a few things. I've seen a lot of movies recently, but it should be soon. So the full list and all my reviews should be on there, along with some reviews that Jack has done. And yeah, I hope you liked it. Check out the rest of our channel, our content. Let us know if you have ideas for more videos in the future, because God knows we can't come up with any. So yeah, we love your stupid faces. Bye-bye.